Sideline Squib. It's a long time coming. Steve, Andrew, what say you? This is the sideline, Funny, it's my time then. Put me in right now then. Squib, boy. This is the sideline, Funny, it's my time then. Put me in right now then. Squib, boy. This is the Squib, info stick up to your ribs. Chips be coming with that dip. Go ahead, put it to your lips. My oh my, that is delish. Victory gon' taste like this. Y'all bought that big ol' boat, but these boys built you a bridge. Sit down and take notes. If you want you a trophy.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Long time no see. Steve Silvestri, Sideline Squib, and Andrew Lehigh at Do or Die Nasty. It's been a while, but we are back. We've done some guest shows along the way, had some things going on. I know for me, I am officially moved into the new house. Still don't have a desk set up, so I'm kind of rocking and rolling off of a tiny end table and laptop. Andrew, I know you had some computer breakdowns, and you have working off your phone here, but we're back. We're back into it. The last month was good. It was good for outside of maybe our home lives of what was happening, but good to kind of take a break, get in with Josh and Abe kind of killing it for us on the DFS docket. So, let's get into it, man. How you been?
Hey, man, been good. It's funny. We talk a lot, but we don't really, until we're on the show, we don't really see each other. So it's been a while since, we've seen each other on another screen. So it's good to be back. Obviously, we're going to knock some rust off here a little bit, but it is the off season, so we'll just kind of dabble in a little bit of everything.
Yeah, lots going on, especially just this last week in general, last 2 weeks, I guess. No NFL Combine, so the players are putting on these pro days, which in a sense is their, this is their resume, this is their audition, this is their interview, much like what the NFL Combine would be. Is there anyone that kind of caught your eye thus far, or anyone that you're looking forward to seeing?
Yeah, before we get into individual pro days, I think it's something that I think that's something that might stick around. I think there might be more opt-outs in the actual combine and players sticking to more pro day style auditions per se. Aside from the interviewing process, which you could do remotely too, there's really no advantageous route for players to actually go to the combine. I mean, obviously teams and scouts want you to go to the combine, but I think it's a chance for players to kind of unite and say, you know what, we would like to just kind of do it with our teammates from college and with a familiar area, familiar setting, things like that. But I don't know, that's just my insight and all of it, at least how I'm taking it away. It seems to be going really, really smooth for a lot of guys, and obviously people are crushing 40 times, so I don't think they're going to be wanting to, head to Indianapolis to potentially lessen their 40 time.
Yeah, that could be something. If there could be a like a reconciled timing mechanism. I mean, easy to do, easy to put to give to every school. I mean, it's not something hard, but obviously the stopwatch, adding a few seconds here and there could justify a few things. But I agree. I mean, I think that's something that we could see. It's the players. I mean, you got to think these players are still young athletes, 20, 21, 22 years old, whatever it may be. Just that little bit of added pressure going into Indy, going into the combine, this might take a little bit off of them. Now, granted, you're playing with sticks and stones because you're getting into the NFL. There's gonna be pressure. You're gonna have to live through these high pressure moments. But something like this, you're right. You could have them in your home field, have them comfortable. Shoot, you might start to see them get out of their underwear and might even be into pads in the near future.
Hey, listen, the 40 time means absolutely nothing to me. Because they continue to just wear less and less garments, which I don't blame them. They're going to allow it, and that's what people are concerned with is 40 times. So take every advantage that you possibly can. It's like swimmers who shave themselves completely from head to toe, so they shave whatever kind of time off they can of their 100 meters or whatever it is. So I don't blame the players for doing it because they're using the resource available. It doesn't mean that much to me whenever somebody runs a fast 40 anymore, because great. I mean, they're not going to be doing that. They're not wearing pads. They're not wearing pants. They're not wearing a shirt. They're not wearing a helmet. So what does that really mean? Aside from explosiveness, which I think the vertical obviously has more to do. It shows more of explosiveness or measures explosiveness better than the 40 time does anyway. So, and on that note, like for me, you asked like who has kind of piqued my interest or whose pro day is caught my attention. Obviously, Rondell Moore. Everyone, I guess, was shocked that he was short, which everybody already knew. So when you measure it, everybody was freaking out about how short he is. But he also had a 42.5-inch vert. So, I mean, there's nobody who's more explosive than he is, and he's a physical freak. So he's an absolute athlete. That's what you're getting. At the end of the day, that's what you'd be drafting if you're drafting Rondell Moore.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I think that there's going to be so many different changes. But what you talked about, just like swimmers, they shave themselves clean, they get faster. There's all these different things. Why wouldn't they wear, the least amount of material possible to run a 40 time? Like, that's going to change. But for these guys, that's the difference between $1 million and $3 million. So it makes sense. It's just like the players in MLB who may or may not take steroids, because what's the difference? If you can get by and sneak by and make and land a big contract and get caught later, who cares? You're getting paid at that point. The competitive edge is always there because someone else is doing it. But you can see Andrew and I shaved up a little bit. Stay tuned in the near future. There will be a Sideline Squib and DFS docket Manscaped for those of you who like to keep your junk clean as well as your face. We do have a promo code coming out here next week, so stay tuned for that. It'll be all over us. Abe and Josh will be opening it live, and then we'll kind of roll in with them. Awesome work, Abe. Awesome work, everyone around the team. So stay tuned for that, and you'll get the promo code there if you're into that sort of stuff as well. I know we are. Yeah, one guy I know that I really liked, and I didn't. It's weird because I kind of liked him just based off of his film study and what I saw and a little bit of research I did. And then his pro day, again, it's weird because he wasn't the main player on that team that everyone was looking at. So I think that also takes out a little bit of pressure. But it was Rakeem Boyd out of Arkansas, smaller school in a sense. When you're talking about some of these bigger ones, there wasn't too many people coming out. A lot of offensive linemen, defensive linemen from Arkansas were in the pro day. But this is a guy who came out of absolutely nowhere. I mean, he came out of absolutely nowhere. He was a 4-star prospect when he first came out, got into a little bit of academics issue when he was at Texas A&M, completely was out of school for a while, and then went to some community college or the secondary school, whatever they're called, the Independence Community College or something like that, which ended up being featured on that Netflix film Last Chance U. And that's where he got his power, and he was just grinding out on these JUCO kids, and he ended up getting a shot at Arkansas and put up great numbers there. And what I liked about him is he became this overall balanced running back where he has a little bit of everything, but he's not shining. Like, he's not going to come in and be a first rounder or second rounder by any means. I have him. I think I have him projected 5th round or something like that. I do have him as my running back 11. I want to sneak him into the 10th. I just haven't done that yet. But I do like what I see out of him. He kind of gives me a little bit of everything that kind of pushes him towards the running back that I'm looking at. He's going to be a project back, I believe, to start, but it's not one that's so far-fetched that if you have him and need him, he's going to produce. So those are the kind of players that I look for that personally at this time of the year is we know what's going to happen with Travis Etienne in the sense that he's going to come in and he's going to get a job somewhere. We know that Jamar Chase is going to get a job. We know that Justin Fields is going to get a job somewhere. I like to find these players in the draft that during their pro days, during their combine, they show out a little bit more. They can handle the pressure. They can produce. But you have to put that all in a sense, I guess, if that makes any sense. Like what they're going to show us in their pro day, what they're going to show us in the combine, I like to take that and then almost overlay that on top of their game film, on top of what they did in the past in their history, and kind of see what kind of player we're working with and see what we go from there. I mean, how do you look at the draft, Andrew, or not the draft, the pro days when you're going about scouting your players, first time seeing it. Some of these guys you may not see a lot on because they're smaller schools or not broadcasted enough. So how do you take pro days and NFL combines as it goes to making your selections come fantasy wise when you're trying to build a team or find a good prospect?
Man, I want to be like, man, I have a bunch. It matters a bunch to me. It doesn't, man. That stuff doesn't mean anything to me. I mean, it's cool. I understand the concept to an extent. I want to see these guys in specific drills and see where they stack up to one another as far as an athletic standpoint. But man, I want to be analytic. I want to take some of that into consideration. But at the end of the day, it's always been about how they play on the football field for me, and just kind of how it shakes out. If it's a wide receiver, what they look like up against some of the top tier talent of their conference. Obviously those are the guys we're trying to look at anyways. We're looking at high level guys. We're looking at guys that are in the college football playoff and things like that. We're not talking necessarily these deep sleepers every single time. So for me, it's pretty easy to kind of compare them against elite talent because they're going against guys that are going to be in the NFL already. So, obviously it's not necessarily what have they done. And that's exactly that's their ceiling. You're trying to project, what they're going to be at the end of the day. And I think Mel Kiper even touched on it the other day. Your job as a scout, or your job when you're looking at film, is not seeing what they see, seeing what being presented to you and saying this is what they can do. You need to be able to, or this is what they're doing. You need to be able to see what they can do. You need to be able to see based on their film, based on what you're watching. Can this player do this at the next level? And I think the pro days and the combines don't really give me that. Sure, the 3-cone is nice unless you're DK Metcalf. 40 time is nice unless you're John Ross. Those kind of things, they don't always matter that much in the grand scheme of things. And for me, draft capital was more important to me than the pro day. And that's at the end of the day, I think that's where I stand analytically.
Yeah, and I mean, we're only a month away, roughly. We're a month and 2 days away from the actual NFL draft. What do you see coming about? What do you see coming about the draft? I mean, do you think there's going to be even more shakeups and as far as trades? I mean, we've seen many trades so far this week. Was it yesterday? With the whole Miami, San Fran, Eagles. You want to touch on that a little bit? Kind of what happened there? What was the scenario? Overall, what do you think that, I mean, obviously we're not GMs or anything, but what do you think is going behind? What does it mean for, let's just go to the quarterbacks. What does it mean for Hurts? What does it mean for Tua? What does it mean for Jimmy G? Overall, there was a lot of moving around, a lot of picks that got swapped, but roughly the 49ers moved up 9 spots to the number 3, while the Dolphins dropped back 3 spots to number 6, and the Eagles jumped back 6 spots to the number 12. After all the moving around, everyone's still in good position. There were some future firsts and other picks involved. But let's just start with the quarterbacks. What do you think that means for the young quarterbacks in Philly and Miami and Jimmy G, who's kind of, I think he's the one who has to be most nervous for his job now that San Fran jumped up to 3. Do you agree with that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that's the one that I would, if I were Jimmy G, I wouldn't be too comfortable. And there's still possibility that he gets moved. The good news for him is that he has a no trade clause in his contract. So if he doesn't like where he's going, then he can just nix it. And I don't know though there's going to be a ton of suitors for Jimmy G just based on contract situation and what they would have to give up to get him. I'm going to be cheap, even so. I think what this really means for all 3 teams involved is they've kind of put themselves in a position for now and later. For the Eagles, for example, they moved back, and maybe they don't end up with a quarterback this year or the quarterback they wanted this year, but they did add an additional first for next year. So what that ends up, it allows them to basically get a trial run on Jalen Hurts, and they'll have 2 firsts next year if you include their own. So an opportunity to either move up and get the guy they want, or
so I know for me, living closer to the Philadelphia metro area, a lot of the chatter around here and talking to the guys that are adamant fans and some of the beat reporters and all that, they are really into jumping in and diving in because the Eagles actually tried to get up to the number 3 spot to get Zach Wilson, which is very, very odd. To even hear that come out of the reporters in the Philly area and again, you hear more in your area that can get exploded and bubbled into exaggeration. So who knows if that's really what happened. But the rumor on the street is that's why the trades happened so quick, is because the Eagles were trying to get up with Miami to number 3 to go after a quarterback and couldn't do it. So when that trade happened, they easily bumped back, and it made an easy decision for Miami. My opinion on that, and talking to some people around the area, is if you didn't think Carson Wentz was the guy and you got rid of him, and you don't think Jalen Hurts is the guy because you're going to try to move up and get, Zach Wilson if they would have got that 3rd overall pick, then what are you trying to accomplish? Like, where are we at now with Jalen Hurts, Joe Flacco, the Philadelphia Eagles, and now coming off of, let's call it a Jamar Chase at 6 to hoping you land a Jalen Waddle at 12, if that's the route you want to even go at this point. But yeah, I mean, what do you think they're talking about, just Philadelphia in general? I know you cut out there for a second, but Philadelphia in general, what do you think's going on? I mean, Howie Roseman is all over the place, hasn't won a good draft. They have a lot of picks. I think they have 3 picks in the first round next year. But where do they go now that they're dropping back from 6 to 12 and put the mindset that they were going after a quarterback if they could move up? Which way do they swing now? Which way does that pendulum swing now, knowing that they can't go to one of the top 3 quarterbacks, and they're going to have Jalen Hurts going forward, at least for this season?
I think it depends on how much stock you put into beat reporters leaking that they were going to go after Zach Wilson. I mean, I don't necessarily buy it. To be honest with you, like, it's one thing to know that a team might be moving up to a specific draft slot, but to also know who they're targeting a month away from the draft doesn't seem like something that is really logical at the end of the day. And Zach Wilson has been pegged to the Jets for, at this point, 2 months now, if not longer. But that's their guy. And again, I don't necessarily believe all that either. So for it to come out that, they were moving up to 3 to get Zach Wilson, he's, by all reports, not going to be there at 3. So
yeah,
it doesn't make sense that was the case. I personally would prefer Justin Fields. But that's, I think, really, even Ray GQ was talking about it today on Twitter. This is the group of quarterbacks, man. So it depends on what flavor of pie you like. You know what I mean? Like, it's still pie. It's just what flavor do you want? At the end of the day, like, I think obviously Trevor Lawrence is going to go number 1. Teams are going to have the option of picking that flavor of pie, but the rest of them are going to be whoever you want. You want Mac Jones? Take Mac Jones. You want Justin Fields? Take Justin Fields. Zach Wilson? All the same. So I think they're all going to be viable starters. I think Ray was spot on with that. For me personally, I like the rushing upside of Justin Fields a little bit more, and I think that at least early on, similar to Jalen Hurts, at least early on, when you're trying to build as a quarterback and you're going to be thrown into the fire, which any one of these guys is going to be doing, they need to be able to run and move out of the way, and make something happen with their legs in today's NFL with how quickly pass rush is getting there. So I would not saying that Zach Wilson can't run. I would just prefer Justin Fields, and I don't necessarily I don't know if that's consensus or hot take or whatever, but that's just where I stand. So for it to get out and say that they were going to take Zach Wilson just doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, because by all accounts he wasn't going to be there.
Yeah, it makes complete sense for the side of that. So I don't know what was going on, what was being said at this point. And you're right, to come out a month early, it kind of doesn't make sense. But who else, for this to come out, let's say the rumors were true and it wasn't Zach Wilson, is there any other player or position that you think is going to go within the top 3 this year? And quarterback, I guess I should say.
Right. So realistically, when we did our mock 6 weeks ago or so, I had Sewell going there for Miami, which made sense because they have Tua, and trying to just beef up that offensive line, and they have another first round pick later on in the in this draft. But, I really just I now that it's the 49ers, I can't see them giving up all that for anything other than a quarterback.
Yeah.
So a lot of that, you talk to people that are into the 49ers, and a lot of them think it's Trey Lance, which I don't think you would have to move up like that to get Trey Lance. So I'm out on that rumor. I think it has to be Justin Fields. I don't think there really is another logical answer here other than Justin Fields. I think it goes Lawrence, Wilson, Fields.
Don't you just love all the rumors and alleys and different directions this time of the season brings?
Smoke screens, man. That's all they are.
So here's one. I don't know if this is a let's go down this street or not, but tell me what's going on with Baltimore and Lamar Jackson's throwing arm here? All right, so their big receiver they land now is Sammy Watkins after Juju Smith-Schuster turns down more money from Baltimore, better contract to return to the Steelers that he pretty much just shit on himself and rode over it with his bicycle. Yeah. And you got T.Y. Hilton, who just got offered more money at a much older age from Baltimore, decided, no, let's return home to Indy. What do you think's going on there? Because that division is going to be pretty tough, I think, this year. The Steelers, depending on what they're doing, who knows if they're in it or out. The Bengals, if Joe Burrow can come back healthy. Baltimore, we're seeing what they're going through. You're going to have J.K. Dobbins, Lamar Jackson. That's going to be their core, like they've always been. Defense in that division. But the Browns, I don't know if you've looked into them at all. I mean,
they loaded up. They loaded up on the defense too. They got a couple good safeties.
And you got their safety, Grant Delpit, was out all last season from LSU. He's going to be back. You got the other young corner, Greedy Williams from LSU. He's going to be he's going to be back. Like, they have a lot of guys coming back next year.
Browns are a sneaky pet.
Kareem Hunt. It's going to be like Baker Mayfield. I'm weirdly happy that he had a good finishing season last year, because I want to see what he can do with a full roster, I'm all in coaching staff, and see what's going to happen, because he was on the verge of being a next Johnny Manziel maybe not that bad, but the next Johnny Manziel in Cleveland, and now it looks like he may have solidified his spot after a very good season, kind of a in quotes comeback season as it is. So
it sucks about whenever you start slow, though. I mean, when you start slow, or because he didn't start slow, he splashed onto the scene, but then he fell off, right? And then his personality doesn't always mesh with everyone who talks about sports on a major network. So it was easy to bash him and easy kind of just dog on him. Which sucks for him whenever that happens, is that even if he plays really, really well this year, it's going to be tough for him to ever feel super safe about his job. At least in Cleveland. So it's tough. But yeah, I'm with you. I'm excited for the Browns. What it looks like on paper, which doesn't always mean anything. But it's starting to. That paper is getting pretty nice. The paper's looking pretty good, pretty thick. And so I think there's going to be some noise that can be made with the Browns. But to your original point with Lamar Jackson, I don't think it's really that much. I think there's a lot is being read into that. T.Y. Hilton is dust. So I think it's best off that they didn't get T.Y. Hilton and send him back to Indianapolis.
T.Y. Hilton or Sammy Watkins for the same price.
That's so funny. I just had this conversation with my brother, like minutes before we hopped on here. I want neither. If I were going to have one or the other, I think I would prefer Watkins. But he made a good point. He said, availability is sometimes your best ability, which Watkins has not been available. I know that firsthand. But T.Y. Hilton, I mean, I would be shocked if he got through a whole season this year. Shocked with how many just nicks and bumps along the way through his career in regards to what he's dealt with. And it doesn't get any easier when you get older. So I can't see him being a model of consistency this year, especially with a new quarterback and all that. So and what is this? I think we talked about this on Abe's show on Tuesday. Like, This his fourth quarterback in 2 years. He did Jacoby, Andrew Luck, Philip Rivers, and now Carson Wentz.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's going to be. I mean, he's definitely not going back to feel comfort unless he's just that's it. Like he knows he's on his last leg. I do want to hit
playing
on,
indoors. Playing indoors matters.
I do want to hit on like our home teams here because the Raiders have made so many moves, but I'm not quite sure where we're heading. Like,
what are you doing?
We're saving money, I think, but like I don't know where we're going. So we just got rid of 3 of our top tier offensive linemen, like top notch offensive linemen, and have done nothing but pick up speed receivers. So now you want our guys to run long, but you don't want to give Derek Carr the time to throw the ball. So we got rid of 3 top tier offensive linemen, maybe one of the best centers in Gabe Jackson. And we pick up John Brown and Willie Snead to go with Henry Ruggs. Like what's Oakland doing? What's Vegas? Sorry, what is Vegas doing?
I mean, I'm not mad about it.
Wait, we just signed another starting running back too.
Yeah. I was going to say they are so adamant about not giving Josh Jacobs passing opportunities, reception opportunities, that they will literally overpay for another running back to go do that for them. They're going to have him actually play a little wide receiver.
It's crazy.
For me, as a Chiefs fan, I'm like eating that up. Like I've always been envious of that offensive line, at least over the last couple of years in regards to what they built over there. And then they have Josh Jacobs, like it seems like, and then you bring in Kenyon Drake, and it seems like, hey, we're going to run the shit out of the football. But maybe not. Maybe they want to chuck it deep now with some speed receivers. Again, that's what with John Brown and Willie Snead. That doesn't move the needle one bit for me. I mean,
no. Like not even close. If Brian Edwards doesn't get on the field and become this phenom, like rookie Alshon Jeffrey that everyone wants him to be, myself included, you're literally like the receivers that we are literally running with right now. Like, here you go, Derek Carr. Show us what you got. John Brown.
And they got rid of Mariota.
Who?
And they got rid of Mariota.
Yeah. No, they kept him. He came back on he reworked his contract.
He did? Okay.
Yeah.
My bad.
He came back for cheaper with no trade clause, I believe it was.
Okay.
But so we got John Brown, we got Henry Ruggs, you got Willie Snead, and you have the 6th grade teacher Hunter Renfrow.
And Darren
there
Waller,
you go.
How old is Darren Waller, by the way?
He's getting up there now.
Right. Yeah. John Gruden's on a 10-year deal, bro. 10-year deal.
What do we do? Like, what is going on? That's your receiving core. Like, go throw the ball, Derek Carr. Good luck.
And they can't. You would be shocked if they spent another first-round pick on a wide receiver, right? Because they just did that with Ruggs, and it didn't work out super well immediately, which they never do, by the way. Justin Jefferson is 100% a mirage, and even to CeeDee Lamb to some extent. That stuff doesn't normally happen in the first year. So we can't necessarily say the jury is out on Henry Ruggs, but it didn't turn out well for them to spend that first-round pick. And if they were going to spend a first-round pick on a receiver, Henry Ruggs wasn't the guy I would want. But
not only a first-round receiver, the first receiver off the board. I mean, it's easy to play Monday morning quarterback. I get it.
But we were upset when it happened. We were that day quarterback that day. We were upset that day. I don't think it was the Henry Ruggs pick, but I remember I was on someone's show. I forget who it was. Henry Ruggs. No, yeah, it was.
Was it Henry Ruggs?
Yeah. And
no, this one wasn't. We might have been live then, but I remember I was on someone else's show. Like they had slots, and I happened to be live on their show when they drafted back-to-back, and the first one was Lynn Bowden, and how much I freaking hated him.
Oh, man.
And then the next pick ended up being Brian Edwards, and I like kind of decompressed a little bit. I was like, oh, I forgot we were live. I'm sorry. I might have been the Fantasy Authority, I think. I don't know. I was on somebody's show. But
telling you should have seen me whenever CEH popped up on my screen when we were – Alexis probably wishes she had that on camera. I was not super thrilled with it, especially with Antoine Winfield still on the board. but I was still recovering from. Oh man, now it's gonna draw me a blank. The corner that was taken right in front of us. Oh my gosh, from TCU.
Where'd he go?
He went to Minnesota. Oh, I'm gonna draw a blank.
Nah, I don't know either.
Oh man. Anyways, he was the guy I had been circling. Man, I can't believe I'm spacing here. He had been the guy I'd been circling for weeks at that point, and it'd been working out that was how it was gonna fall. We were gonna have our pick at corner, whatever corner we wanted, and Chiefs pop up with CEH, and I remember just being like, first off, shocked it was going to be like I was so out on it being a running back, like it was the first thing through my mind, and then shocked that it was CEH. So, I mean, Gladney, thank you very much, Eric. Hell yeah, thank you very much. It was Gladney. Yep, man.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. I mean, the Chiefs haven't done too much this offseason so far, but I don't think they have a lot to work with either. You know, there's some rumors
we got Tooney. We got the best guard.
Yeah.
We got the best guard available. I mean,
there's been rumors they were going after a few people, right? Like, I think a lot of these guys that are signing, Andy Reid's throwing some money their way, but he's doing it smart. He's not overpaying for something he doesn't need. He's trying to build that core, build that roster, to that depth.
We had Trent Williams on the phone. Apparently that didn't work out, but it's okay because that was a lot of money. You know, obviously we've been in talks with Melvin Ingram. We apparently had an offer for Juju. Juju turned us down too. So that is what it is. I think people just forget, like, it's not always about the money, by the way. It's not always about the money. It is sometimes about
it's hard to
you
think
have to move. Do you want to move every time? At the end of the day, sometimes you don't want to move, and especially if you're in Baltimore. Like, what's moving to Kansas City? If you're going to move to Miami. You know what I mean? Like, what's the difference? So, or Pittsburgh or whatever. So, I'm not necessarily giving excuses. I know it sounds like that, but at the end of the day, like, it's just not always the right fit. Sometimes you're just happier with who you don't get versus who you do get. Sometimes.
For me, being so close to the Baltimore area, I would say the biggest move for me is like being able to go out your door and have all these fresh crabs and be on a boat and eat like food, and then be like, oh, we're gonna go to Kansas City and just eat cow
barbecue, baby. Let's go. Fired up.
No, it's good because there's a lot of movement going on already, and I think it's exciting a lot of us around the the football podcast and the fantasy football world, because this is what gets our gears turning. This is what keeps us kind of ready for what's next, because we have fun. You know, we might not always be correct, but we have fun doing the research and coming up with ideas that we think may happen, or we think we might project this. And that's the best part about it, at least for us who do it for fun, us who do it as a hobby. You know, we don't get paid for this. We don't do anything like that. But this is the best part about it. I love trades. I love free agents. You know, I love trying to pick landing spots and what's next. And then because someone goes here, what does that mean for the draft? And I got a big one now. It's like Kyle Pitts. What's going on with Kyle Pitts?
Wherever he lands, bro. Can't wait to see where he lands, man.
Me neither.
That's a huge chip.
I mean, at least between us and everyone on the sideline squib team, it was almost like, okay, New England, it's stupid. Bill Belichick knows he can't go without another tight end. You saw what's happened the 2 years he hasn't had a tight end, and then bam, he goes out and signs 7 of them. So, I mean, I'm not ruling it out. He
drafted 2 last year and then signs a bunch this year. I mean, the dude has a tight hand. Can't knock that.
Yeah, that is for certain. But
who do you want the Raiders to take? Who's the apple of your eye?
Right now,
that's like a legit shot at happening.
A legit shot at happening, I think, would have to be maybe that what's his name, the linebacker out of Notre Dame, long Hawaiian name, maybe that guy.
Yep.
I don't know what his name is off the top of my head right now, but he's a middle linebacker that kind of he is a middle linebacker. You know, we had Corey Littleton come over from the Rams. He was kind of on and off the field. We had the other linebacker that came in and he got hurt and he was out. So again, we're always fighting for a middle linebacker. I mean, we signed the cat that was in Jacksonville recently, and then they got traded halfway through the season. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank all of a sudden. defensive end, defensive lineman. I'll come back to that when you're talking here. But, so we picked up another good defensive lineman or defensive end, and we need someone to control the middle of the field. I think our DBs and our safeties are to the point where they're in their second year. They're coming together as a team, and they can kind of lock it down.
We just moved Abrams to the linebacker. I mean, he already plays down there anyway.
Yeah. But I like him how he plays there. He just plays so hard. He plays so hard, like it throws his body at it. But no, I think it's going to be I hope it's going to be a linebacker. I don't think Micah Parsons. I mean, after what we just saw at his pro day, I don't think he's going to slide that far. But if he does, that's the guy I would want. But I don't see that happening.
What number are you guys? What were you picking at?
15?
Somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
18?
For me, it's tackle or bust for me. I mean, whichever one falls to us. There's like 6 that are worthy in the first round. So whichever one falls to us, I'm good with at the end of the day. I've seen Eichenberg is really being the one who's been comped to us a lot, or Cosme. A couple dudes that I'm totally fine with. Whoever we draft in the first round of whatever tackle we take in the first round, they're going to be our starting left tackle. So then I would be okay if in the second round, if there was somebody there still worthy of that, we should look at the offensive line again. I'd be good with Trey Smith. I'd be good with Wyatt Davis. Those guys, they should be going in the first round, but they can't all go in the first round at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Somebody's going to fall. And then later on in the draft, we're obviously always looking for some of the fantasy relevant guys. I'm not looking for a 5th round wide receiver, but if there's somebody in that day 2 that falls in there, Jalen Darden is our guy. That's a dude that I'd like to see as a Chief. Rondell Moore, if they were to look at wide receiver in the first round, totally okay with that. Because he seems to be a guy that would be perfect for a Chiefs offense, for an Andy Reid offense. Just a weapon, a little chess piece. You move him here, you move him there, and just let his athleticism take over and yak it up. But we'll see. At the end of the day, I think there's still some trades that are going to be out there. I mean, obviously Brett Veach isn't afraid of draft day trades. He traded up to get Patrick Mahomes. I wouldn't be opposed to sending number 31 for Orlando Brown. Things like that. So I think there's still a lot of movement left to be made. And I would be shocked if Jimmy Garoppolo isn't moved. Just speaking of a draft day trade, I would be shocked if he's not dealt.
Yeah, so the Raiders have 17 overall, and the defensive lineman I was talking about that he picked up was Yannick Ngakoue.
I can't say his name either.
So they ended up grabbing him. It's tough for us to say, like, I want those fantasy relevant players. I want those guys.
Yeah.
But sometimes that's not always the way it goes in the draft.
Yeah.
I mean,
also want to win a Super Bowl.
8% of the time, but
yeah.
No, I'm looking forward to it. I always look forward to it too. It just sucks because you have John Gruden, who in his prime was a very good coach. You have Mike Mayock, who is supposed to be this draft guru. Well, year 1, you let a lot of people down. A lot of people down. So, looking forward to seeing what that brings. I mean, year 1, when they took Clelin Ferrell at 4 overall, when there was guys like linebacker Josh Allen on the board, who at the time was this phenom, shocked all of us. And then most recently with Henry Ruggs going first receiver off the board with all of those names. Like, last year's wide receiver group was
legit,
and that's where we went. So I guess we'll take his 1 reception, 57 yards a game, and see where that takes us.
I think it was one of those things where it's like they had plenty of safer options to take at wide receiver. Ruggs.
It's not like we had anything anyway. At the time we had Tyrell Williams and Hunter Renfrow.
Just get a guy in there who's going to catch you, 80 balls for 1,100. Call it a day. And instead they got the guy who. And at the end of the day, it's not always about fantasy football. Like you said, it's not always about even if they draft that position, that would be for fantasy football. It's not always for fantasy football, right? Like they're playing real football. And John Gruden's definitely going to be the guy who will tell you that straight up that he doesn't care about your fantasy football team, just like Bill Belichick doesn't care about your fantasy football team. Henry Ruggs wasn't drafted for us, right? He was drafted to take the top off the defense and to continue to soften up the underneath for Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow and guys like that. I understand the logic behind it, but man, for him to be the first one off the board, he has to hit, and he didn't hit year one, and we'll see where we're at in year two. I can't tell you that I'm pulling for him, but we'll see. We'll see where he's at.
Yeah. No, but guys, I do want to thank TrophySmack.com. They hooked us up with all of our trophies for the winning championships this season. And if you guys haven't checked them out, if you play any other fantasy sports while you're waiting, I know baseball's about to start. Actually, just had my live draft this morning for baseball. They have awesome, amazing trophies for all sports. NBA's coming to a close here soon. So if you're in any kind of NBA league, make sure you swing over to TrophySmack.com. Use code SQUIB at checkout, SQUIB. Get yourself a free championship ring to go along with whatever trophy you decide to get for your league winnings. Awesome product. Great. I mean, we weren't going to do it for baseball league. I talked to commissioner into doing it. Excuse me. It is by far in my opinion, it's best. You know, you have the trophy, you have the ring, they have all these other products, but the trophy itself, you can put up to like 82 different nameplates on it for how many years you want to play. So, I mean, you can have long-lasting leagues on this trophy. And the coolest thing about it is they have this thing called the top swapper is what it's called, where the base and everything stays together of the trophy, and you literally twist off the top. The winner of that season can keep the top and the plaque, and all you got to do as a league is buy another $10 topper that goes on top of the trophy, and that passes along every season long. So the nameplates and the actual base of the trophy stay with the winner each year, but every year the winner at least gets something back in return. It's not like the leagues where you have a trophy and you might have a great year in 2000 and then you don't win again for 2020, and at that point you're like, well, I haven't even seen the trophy in 20 years. You know? So it's a cool little memorabilia thing to have for yourself. But if you're on it, go to TrophySmack.com, use code SQUIB at checkout, get yourself a free ring to go along with that trophy.
Or championship belt.
Or championship belt, even better. Yeah.
That's what we want. We want championship belts here. It's Sideline Squib.
All right, guys. Well, we're here. We're back. Anything else you want to hit on before we get off here, Andrew? I think it was a good first step back into it. It's awesome to talk to you guys out there. Is there anything else you want to hit on kind of before we say our goodbyes and get back into our Saturday shows?
If Body Armor would like to sponsor our show, I'd be okay with that. Body Armor. Shout out Body Armor, Strawberry Banana. But no, man, good to get back in the groove of it, check some things out. Both of us are in different technological situations now, so we're kind of having to fly by the seat of our pants, but we're getting it done, and we'll be back at a more regular pace, especially when this draft happens. We kind of know where these rookies are landing, and we get into rookie draft season and all that good stuff. So excited to get back into it, and looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on the website as well, so stay tuned for the Manscaped promo coming out from there. And don't forget, every Wednesday, midweek, I don't want to say every Wednesday, midweek, either Tuesday or Wednesday, you got Abe and Josh killing it over at the DFS Docket. They run off the same YouTube channel, the same RSS feed. They are bringing in guests left and right. Highly known guests.
Ian Hartitz going to be on the show, bro.
I will be on that show too on Wednesday. Wednesday, he's on there. Yeah. I think that's the 30th.
I think so.
Like that. Yeah, so go check them out. Don't forget, show them some love as well. They've been killing it, and we'd like to thank all of our guys on the Sideline Squib team putting out articles. So swing over to our website, sidelinesquib.com. Check out the articles. Rankings are still in the works. They're coming up for this 2021 season, but everything's there. Everything's there. Show us some love. Have some fun. If you like what you see, we got apparel on there as well. By all means, grab some, use a code, get some cheap gear, rock it for us. Let us know you like it. Leave us that review on Apple, on Podbean, whatever it is. Let other people find us as well. And we want to thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next week on the Sideline Squib.